Hello, everybody. Today I'm going to be talking about some of the things that I would like to see in The Sims 5 if The Sims 5 ever came to production. Now, these are just going to be my opinions, and I'm going to try to make this video quick because I have a tendency of making videos kind of long, and I'm not very good at editing. So I apologize if this video is a little bit long, but I'm just throwing this video together quickly so that I don't have to try to edit. But anyway, I heard The Sims 5, there was rumors of it possibly being made, but I've also heard that EA is going to not make The Sims 5 because it's going to depend on The Sims 4, how well it does. I heard one of the, what is it called, the CEOs or the producers of the game or somebody said that The Sims 5 is totally going to rely on how well The Sims 4 does. I guess they want to make sure that they have enough money to even be able to make The Sims 5. But anyway, here's some of the things that I would like to see in The Sims 5 that either hasn't been in the past Sims games or it has been, but they could be working on it a little bit better. And the first thing is an open world, similar to how The Sims 3 is. In an open world, I mean how there's no loading screens and you could just walk around and not have to worry about a loading screen just to leave your house. And that would be not only good for The Sims 5, but it would also make it good for online play, which is my next thing I wanted to talk about. Because online play, I mean, I'm not too familiar with other versions of the game. Like, I've played The Sims 2, 3, and 4. That's what I grew up playing with. I never played the first Sims, but I think there might be a mobile version of the game. I don't know if that's online or not. Like, you could play with your friends. I don't quite sure. I don't know about that, but I've never played the mobile version. But if they incorporated online play into The Sims 5, that would be a whole lot better. Like, obviously, you'd be able to have the single version as well, to where you can play on your own, like you have been. But if they could also make online play to where you could actually live in a whole neighborhood of people to where you could play with others, that would be a really cool feature. Even if you have to pay extra because, all games these days are going to have microtransactions in it, and you're probably going to have to pay for extra. So even if you had to pay a subscription to play online, that would make it a whole lot better, and EA would make their money back that they're claiming that they're not making because I guess The Sims 4 didn't do as good as they thought it should have. Which I kind of agree, because The Sims 4 is not my favorite version of the game. Believe it or not, my favorite version of the game is The Sims 3. They did a really good job. They have the open world like I was talking about, and they have vehicles, which is another thing that I wish The Sims 5 would have. Sims 4 still does not have vehicles, I've heard. And I haven't played it in a while, but how do you not have vehicles in a game where your past version of the game has had vehicles? So The Sims 5 should have vehicles, and it would be cool if you could even possibly drive them, but that might be too much for EA to handle right now. So, I mean, you never know. They might release a DLC on it, like they have been with everything else. So if they could get vehicles and then an open world and online play, and then that also leads to my next one of less loading screens, which could be back into the first point of open world. If they had less loading screens on everything, it would be a whole lot better. Whereas The Sims 4, when you just want to walk to the next neighborhood, you have to sit there and go through a loading screen. I just hate The Sims 4 mechanics of loading screens, and it's just, when I first played it, it was so hard to try to get from one house to another, or to try to move in. Like, it was so hard to understand. The Sims 3, it was so easy. Like, you could just go and when you click on edit town, you zoom out to this aerial view of the whole town. You could click on different houses all on the same screen with no loading screens. Even when you switch from one house to another or go into build and buy mode, I think build and buy mode, of course, I think you did have a little small loading screen for that, but that's understandable. But like there was no loading screens at all for The Sims 3 except for when you load up the game for the first time or when you go and travel. Like that's understandable when you go to a different world. But The Sims 3 with between that and all the customization you could do to the characters, the houses, the different things you could do and create a sim, and especially with cheats, if you're a person that plays this game with cheats, which I am, there's just so many possibilities that you can do. And I still play The Sims 3 to this day. I just got done playing it like about an hour ago. And I actually prefer it over The Sims 4. The Sims 3 is one of my favorite versions of the Sims games. And The Sims 4, I mean, they could have done better with the graphics. I almost feel like the Sims 3 graphics are even better than the Sims 4. Like, I mean, they tried to do stuff differently, but I just feel like the Sims 3 is the best version of the game all around. Now, the Sims 2 was fun too. I mean, I think my favorite thing about the Sims 2 was the Open for Business expansion pack. Now, the Open for Business expansion pack, you could run your own business in your store, and I think that's the only thing about The Sims 2 that I like playing today. Like, I'll play it every once in a while, but for some reason, like, it's kind of buggy and laggy. I don't know. I've always had that problem with The Sims 2. I don't know if it's cheats that I use or, I mean, obviously it's not my computer these days, but there was just so much lag in the game. And I've had that trouble here and there with The Sims 3. But I think if you go into the cheats and you hit reset world to where it resets all the characters, I think that might help. Or you might just have to start a whole new game. But anyway, less loading screens and online play, vehicles, open world, all of this would definitely benefit The Sims 5. Now, as you can see, there's the graphics, of course, right there, as you can see from The Sims ranging up to The Sims 4. Obviously, the original Sims graphics were pretty terrible. They were pixely, but it was understandable for its age. I mean, it was a good game. Even though I've never played it, I've seen videos on it. And then The Sims 2, I grew up playing when it first came out. I was like, wow, this is such a cool game. And I remember playing it with my friend in the living room on our laptops and starting up The Sims 2. And then I remember seeing in the launcher for The Sims 2 the advertisement for The Sims 3. And we both thought that was like the best thing ever. So I know I'm getting off topic here, but I mean, if they follow on schedule, releasing every, 5 years, I think. I'm bad at my history here. I know I should have looked this up. But if they release on schedule, it should be releasing sometime here in 2019, which should be good, but they don't even hint at any signs of making it right now. But some other things I would like to see in The Sims 5 would be more realism to the game. Going back to The Sims 2, owning a business. Now, I know you could do that with The Sims 4. I have played that a little bit, but it's just not the same as The Sims 2. Back when you own a business, you could hire different employees, and then they would go around and stock the store, and you could hire a manager. And I haven't played that much of it on The Sims 4, but again, back to like the basics, like the mechanics of the game. It's hard to deal with. It's hard to figure out where things are. You got to work your way up. I mean, I know it was more simple back in The Sims 2 because it was an older game, but I just feel like the way that it was all laid out, it was just a lot easier and a lot more funner. So owning a business with more customization. So if it could be like more realistic, then like you could actually run your own business and actually go through the hiring process with different Sims and actually have an interview with them, and they could apply for that job with resumes. And even if you don't want it to be like that, there should be something in the options where you could turn that off and it could be more simple. But that's something they could definitely add, is more realism to the game, especially with owning your own business or applying for jobs with the resume. And Stuff like that would just make the game a whole lot more funner. And then the next thing would be better building options. Small details like light switches or wiring in the walls or AC units, which I know The Sims 3 had AC units, and that was pretty cool, even though they weren't what do you call it? You couldn't do anything with them. They were pretty much just decoration. And sewer pipes and laying pavement on the ground, like driveways, like just the small little details that you could add to a house that would make it a whole lot more funner. And also if there was jobs related to doing those jobs around the house, like if there was actually somebody you could hire to do that, and or if you wanted to have that job experience doing it yourself, that would be something you could add to your resume, and you could go around and do that for other people. And that would be even better if they would incorporate that into online play, because then you could have friends that would hire you to work on their house, and then they would look at your resume, and like it would just be a whole lot more funner if they added these little details into the game. And I guarantee if they did all this little stuff and people liked it, they would be able to make enough profit from this to where they would be more successful and be able to make a lot more DLCs, because we know that's what they're striving on, is their DLC packs. When I first started buying them with The Sims 2, I was like, why do they keep releasing all these? What's the benefit? So then, as I bought every single one of them and saved up my money for them back then, they were like 20 bucks each. It wasn't until The Sims 3 where I started realizing, you know what, they're just releasing these, and the only thing that you're getting is just like 20 different items to the game. Like, it was the stuff packs back in the DLCs, like, I forget some of the stuff packs now, but like, you know, the stuff packs instead of the expansion packs, all they do is add items to the game. So as soon as I figured that out, I stopped buying the stuff packs. I only bought the expansion packs, which still are like 40 bucks each, and those are pretty expensive because that's almost as much as the base game itself. But that's how they got to make their money, and that's pretty much how they first did microtransactions back then, and that's how they still do them. They just sell all these DLC expansion packs and everything. So those are the only things that they're relying on to make more money, and that's what's going to rely on The Sims 5 even being produced. And other things with the microtransactions, like if they didn't do it by expansion packs, you could actually have in-game currency like other games do to buy vehicles or job experience or different houses or even in-game money. And hopefully like all that stuff would be online play only, because like with single player, if you had to deal with microtransactions in single player, then that'd just be kind of dumb and pointless. But otherwise, like, that would be ways that they could benefit in the game here. So I'm going to try to wrap this up and make this a little bit quick, because I am almost getting close to the 15-minute mark here. So those are the things I'd like to see in The Sims 5, and I think they could be very successful if they add these things in the game. And these are just my opinions on what I think would make the game a whole lot better. If you have anything you'd like to add, feel free to add it in the comments. I doubt EA watches any of these videos, but if they do, EA, you should really listen to all of your customers at what they really want added into the game. And if you do make The Sims 5 with all these things in it, I think it will be really successful. So anyway, I'm going to get out of here, and thanks for watching.